here on Live Now from Fox as we continue to showcase this that continues to roll out live right here on Sky Fox of the Trump motorcade making their way to the courthouse now for the arraignment there. And Dwayne, I got to ask you too, as well as when we're talking about the former president that still has hopes for 2024, is a candidate right now. And if you said if they could keep putting these emotions and backing this trial, or even if it goes to trial in a year, well, that'll put a smack dab right in the middle there of the true campaign season. And how would that even gel if you're trying to run for president and, hey, you got to have a court trial date coming up?
Yeah, that would be really interesting. Trump has a tendency to suck all the oxygen out of a room, and he's kind of doing that with the news cycle right now, because it's all Trump all the time. And if this goes to trial, it's going to be all Trump all the time. And there is the saying that any publicity is good publicity, but I'm torn whether that's going to work here or not. There are going to be people are going to take sides. I mean, it's going to divide America. People are going to take sides about this trial, and that's going to affect the election. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out.
Yes. And now we are continuing to showcase the motorcade making the way there. And I also want to talk about a little bit more about his 8:15 Eastern really remarks that he'll be making back at Mar-a-Lago, and it'll be interesting to see what he can say and what he will say. I'm really sure that if he's given the opportunity to speak, well, it'll be no holds barred. Dwayne, what about you?
Well, yeah, again, you never know what Donald Trump is going to say, and generally he has a lot to say, and I'm sure he will rail against the system and rail against Prosecutor Bragg. And he will defend his innocence.
Yes, very, very true there as well. And now I just want to show our viewers here the protest rally happening right outside of the courthouse as well. And we are waiting there for the former president to make his way up the steps there of the courthouse and into the building there. And the moment that we were hearing last week, when there was some reporting that Donald Trump actually wanted to be handcuffed and was thinking that it would be a good move to be seen in handcuffs there as a political moment there in history. What would you have thought of seeing the president there handcuffed, and would that even have been a possibility? I know he wanted it, but was that even a thinking in the realm there of a possibility to happen?
Well, it was a possibility, and normally when people self-surrender, when they're transported from wherever they self-surrender to the bookings area, they're usually handcuffed. Now, he's going to be, he's showing up directly there. And so, him being handcuffed or not handcuffed is basically law enforcement's call. But, he's surrounded by Secret Service. Everybody in the country's watching this. I mean, what's he going to do? Run or punch somebody? Okay. So, he's going to be fine. And it's the smart thing to do as far as the prosecution goes, because again, had he had Trump handcuffed and did a perp walk with him handcuffed, then everybody would say, see, this is a political show trial. I still believe it's a political show trial, but that would have really made it look like one.
Yeah, absolutely. Now let's go right here full for our viewers right here on Live Now from Fox. We are at the moment here of President Trump there arriving at the courthouse here. So what I want to do is keep you on, Dwayne, but I also want to just bring in the audio right here, just right outside of the courthouse to show the former president coming out of the SUV. So let's listen in for a little bit right here on Live Now from Fox as what we could possibly hear, and if he will make any motions again to the camera But as you can see here, the security has been lined up. The block has really been blocked off in several areas here, all for security measures there for the former president there. And you can see more people going into the courthouse right now. You can't even really see a clear shot of it at this moment, but let's also talk again, Dwayne, for the viewers here, maybe just coming on and seeing these pictures right outside of the courthouse here. And let's also talk about just these next moments there for the former president, who he will be greeted by inside of the courthouse.
Well, as soon as he walks in, he's going to be greeted by law enforcement, and law enforcement's going to escort him to the area where they do the booking. And he will be booked in, just like everybody else who's charged with a crime and self-surrenders is going to be booked in. And then after his booking process, he'll be taken to the courtroom and where they'll do his arraignment. Now, the arraignment's a pretty short hearing, generally 5-10 minutes. And after that, he'll walk back out. I'm assuming he'll walk back out, get in his car and fly back to Mar-a-Lago.
Now, at what point can Trump's legal team try to get a judge dismissed and try to get a new venue or try to get a new judge as well over the possibility there of having what Donald Trump would say is unfair advantage?
Well, I'd be surprised if those motions weren't already written. Now, it would always be prudent to wait to see what the indictment says before you start filing motions. But I believe that the motion to remove the judge in this case has already been written and will be filed within the next day or two.
All right, that is good information there as well. I want to show our viewers right here. Just moments ago, Sky Fox was able to capture Donald Trump heading into the courthouse here with that side entrance there that we have been talking about. You can see the Secret Service there behind the former president there going in the courthouse. So now he is in the courthouse there and now doing what exactly you've been talking about there, Dwayne, is going to be processed here in just moments and awaiting that arraignment. And then what happens next, who knows, right, as far as the remarks that will be made. But we always encourage all our viewers to continue to watch with us right here on Live Now from Fox. Really history in the making day here in New York City, as this will go down as one of the biggest in not only in the legal sense, but also the political sense as well, when you're talking about somebody that is trying to run again for president and now will have the opportunity to really kind of showcase this not as a defeat against him in ways that some political observers would say, could be just a dynamite of bricks thrown at you for anyone else. But how it always seems with Donald Trump that he is a Teflon about him, where it can bounce back and almost use this as a positive for him and his campaign. And Dwayne, in the legal sense here, what would you say to him as far as, I'm sure he doesn't feel like, depressed about this at all, more maybe even motivated?
Yeah, absolutely. He may, he feeds on this. He really does. Donald Trump's a fighter and he likes a good fight. And he just got invited to one. And he's going to come out swinging. He's going to come out with everything he's got in this, and it's going to be a brawl. It really is.
There we go. That's a good way to end it right here with you, Dwayne. We appreciate it right here on Live Now from Fox, really giving us a sense and setting us up, really setting the table up here for what we can expect in the next coming hours here on Live Now from Fox. But it's been a really real treat to speak with you, Dwayne. We are really appreciate it here on Live Now from Fox. And certified specialist in criminal law, Dwayne Cates, thank you again for being here on Live Now from Fox.
Thanks for having me on.
No problem.